I think we've got everybody here. So thank you, panelists, for joining us, and thank you to those who are participating this afternoon. We appreciate you taking the time to be with us, and hopefully from the discussion, much is learned and questions get answered and asked. We certainly have been moving forward this year in regards to our online offerings and individuals that are helping us to make sure that becomes a reality and is a positive experience for our students and their families, as well as those who are teaching this year. So we're grateful for all of the progress we've made over this very short period of time and everyone involved. Okay, so I think what we will do is we will go ahead and have our panelists introduce themselves, their names, as well as what they're currently doing in the district and in regards to online education. And then after those introductions, I'll turn the time over to Mr. Corey Hinwood, who is our online education coordinator for the district, who's done an absolutely phenomenal job in helping us to make this transition to providing more services for our students and their families. So I'm Shannon Delaney, superintendent with the Iron County School District. Appreciate this great team that we have, as well as the rest of our district team that helps to support everything that we do. And I'll turn the time now. I'll just go in order. So Tim.
Yeah, my name is Tim Marriott, and I am the school counselor for online programs.
Sorry, you guys don't know what my order is here. Mr. Niles.
Sure. My name is Jason Niles, and I am teaching first grade, second grade, and third grade with Iron K6 online this year. And I previously taught at East Elementary, as well as Three Peaks Elementary and even South Elementary.
Thanks, Mr. Niles. Mr. Hinwood.
Hey, Corey Hinwood, Innovation Director, and in particular in this role, Director of Online Programs in Iron County School District.
Thanks, Corey. Mr. Schofield.
I'm Steve Schofield. I'm the principal of online programs.
Thanks, Mr. Schofield. That was short and sweet. All right. And then we have Karen Johnson, who's joined us. She is our community partners communication liaison with the district, and we appreciate her facilitating these Wednesday web forums every month. And she'll be monitoring the Q&A and helping the panelists to answer those questions as they come in. All right, Mr. Hinwood, I will turn the time over to you.
Thank you so much, Superintendent. And we are excited to share with you a few of the options and offerings and exciting things that have been taken on this year with Iron Online Education Programs. We have a series of panelists, as were introduced here earlier, that will all chime in at different points, but primarily you'll hear from myself as well as our counselor, Tim Marriott, to discuss some of the differences in the programs and how we serve our students to meet their needs in many personalized education programs that are available online. So we're going to first talk about what is generally true in all of our online program offerings and expectations, what things you can expect from online programs, regardless of grade level or program that you enroll in. And one of those pieces is personalized pacing. Personalized learning generally, when it comes to the pace that students take, often the path that they take is open to them and their needs, as well as, of course, the place of their learning, where they can choose to access learning from any place with an internet connection and a Chromebook. And so these are some of the opportunities for students to really personalize their learning. And we look to further personalize their learning to their interests and to their particular learning needs and styles. Second, we plan to hold, as we move beyond where we've been this year, to more in-person gatherings and holding optional opportunities for people to come together and to learn the essential competencies we want our students to have to be successful in their future. Those things like communication skills and collaboration skills and others. And so we plan to hold more in-person activities, gatherings of sorts, opportunities for students to come together and to create things together. Also, in all of our opportunities, we offer personalized supports in regards to our special education services. So we have special educators that serve all of our programs, and that service is available to work with your child and their IEP team. So in all of our programs, we expect students to enroll for at least one semester, and that will be more the case going forward. This coming year, we've had a few more students in and out this current year, primarily because of the needs of illness and other, medical expectations that have kind of circumvented some of the rules we'd like to see going forward as we kind of stabilize online programs for the future. So those are some of the things that you can expect program-wide in the many different offerings that we have within online programs. And we're going to start to discuss some of those programs. The first of which is our Iron K6 online program. Now, this is an excellent program that offers online schooling to students in kindergarten all the way up through 6th grade. It uses familiar curriculum that you've likely used in our traditional school settings, including things like Lexia, iReady for math and also for reading, as well as Canvas. And so these tools are what are used primarily in this. There are not a whole lot of unique programs that are only used in our online school. These are the primary modes of instruction. So you can feel fairly confident of your students' transition to this program, that they'll be comfortable with much of the online curriculum, as well as receiving regular synchronous instruction, so timely instruction with our teachers who are all local. They're all teachers who live and work in Iron County, as well as outreach coaches who are the same, live and work in Iron County. So again, just to reiterate, I've listed some of those pieces here around curriculum, around the teacher's role, which is primarily to offer that regular synchronous instruction, as well as provide some grading and feedback, all certified teachers that work with our students in those programs, as well as our outreach team, which includes coaches who help meet the needs of students, to set their schedules, to check in with them as they are looking to engage with our curriculum and engage with their teachers, to set goals, connect with them regularly, as well as tutors, which will be a new piece next year, that will have outreach tutors in addition to those we work with at SUU who help to tutor our students in literacy. So if you're interested in enrolling in this program and registering for this next year, we encourage you to go to the tiny URL at the bottom, tinyurl.com/ICSD, Iron County School District. So ICSD online reg for registration. If you go to that URL, it prompts you to fill out a pretty brief Google form that can describe kind of what we need to know from you in order to get you started with online programs in Iron K6 for next year. So we have one of the teachers from Iron K6 who introduced himself earlier, Jason, and we'll just have him kind of describe some of his experience with Iron K6 online and some of the things he's looking forward to for next year.
All right. Thank you, Corey, Mr. Henwood. If you're just checking in, my name is Mr. Niles, and I teach 1st grade, 2nd grade, and 3rd grade with Iron K6 Online. Some of the highlights I think that I want to share with everyone that I've enjoyed this year is, well, something that I wanted to make sure that I created with my students is a good feel for school culture or classroom culture, meaning like school traditions, because one of the things that I feel I've taught elementary for 15 years now, and those are some of the great events that kids really look forward to. The things that you do for certain holidays as a classroom teacher, things that are celebrated in the school. And I wanted to make sure that I included that because I knew that my students would not be going to school at all, and their only interaction with other students and with a teacher or staff member was going to be me. So especially like in the fall when we started, there's so many different holidays, and I made it a point to include some of those things. Like we did a Halloween sing, and I told my kids to dress up in their costumes and show off their costumes, do our own virtual costume parade, and sing some of those really fun songs that are sung in the elementary schools. And obviously Christmas is just loaded with so many wonderful Christmas traditions and songs and stories. So bringing that feel, and it really worked well. I wasn't sure how it would go over, but my students and parents have been very happy and have enjoyed. I've gotten messages that said, thanks for continuing some of those fun school traditions, because I know a lot of the elementary schools do that across our district. So that's been really fun to kind of connect with kids, make it entertaining. Mr. Niles I can still be my goofy, silly self, reading stories to elementary kids and using different voices and talking about it. Kids really like that, and they realize that, yeah, that their teacher can understand them, and we can have a good time even while we're learning. So I've been really happy that I've been able to continue that and create that classroom environment for my first, second, and third graders. Another highlight that I think I've really enjoyed this year is somewhat what Corey mentioned, which is both Lexia and iReady. We use iReady Math and iReady Reading. I have really liked the diagnostics that we give. And so you actually are able to find out exactly what level each of my students is on. Where are their holes? What standards and objectives do they not have a good feel for? They may be a third grader and they may be doing pretty well in math, but they may have something that they haven't mastered that they're still on a second grade level on in math. And so the great thing about these programs is that it sets up a personalized learning path. And then those students are working on those skills that they may be behind in, while I'm still assigning grade level curriculum. So it's really great how that differentiation can happen. And then I have a few students that are really advanced, and they're already showing proficiency on grade level. So they're actually moving into some like fourth grade curriculum, some of my third graders, or I have some first graders on some second grade curriculum. So it's kind of neat with our programs, how they're able to do both. I'm able to provide some of that grade level instruction, and then my kids that are low or struggling in certain areas are getting that individualized learning path as well as the grade level curriculum. So I think those are kind of the two main highlights that I've liked about this year. And I think we're just going to keep improving. We're kind of redesigning it to make sure that we do even a better job of that. And so for next year, also something that I'm looking forward to is kind of one of the things that Corey mentioned is providing some possible get-togethers, be it on a school level, or even I'm hoping if the regular elementary schools are allowed to start doing some field trips next year, I would like to, at least with my students, my first, second, and third graders, be able to attend some of those field trips and make that an option as long as things are fine, safety and health protocols and things. If the regular schools are getting opportunities to do some of those important field trips like the farm field day for third graders, or some of our wonderful theater arts that go on at the Heritage Theater, if those are opened up to our regular elementary schools, I would like my online students to be able to meet and go to some of those events and field trips with me as well. So that's what I'm really hoping for and looking forward to for this next school year. That's about all I have. Does anybody have any specific questions about maybe Iron K6 Online or anything that we do teaching wise?
Yeah, Karen, you'll have to let us know if you see questions from our attendees. And thank you, Jason. Jason does such an excellent job. You can probably already tell. And some of the things I really appreciate about him is certainly his willingness to make relationships and build relationships with students. That seems to be at the forefront of his work, as well as with families. Student Jason also speaks Spanish fluently, and so he does a great job connecting with many of our diverse needs in our district. And he does just an excellent job from Halloween to storybooks. I can't wait. Jason, I'm going to ask you to read in different voices at our next PLC meeting. I'm looking forward to that. No, but he does an excellent job. The other thing he drew out for us, which is true in many of our programs, is the personalized nature that differentiated technology allows us to really personalize to meet the needs of students who are advanced, on grade level, behind, and really to receive the instruction they need, which is just one of the many benefits of using an online program. So thank you, Jason, appreciate that. We're going to move on now to Spark. And so Spark is our 7th through 12th grade accredited curriculum. So a curriculum that works towards credit for a high school diploma in the high school grades. It will allow for interaction with our local outreach team, including coaches and tutors, as well as grading and feedback from our local teachers who will be teaching these courses. So that's a change actually from this year. We had many teachers from outside of our local area this year. This following year, we intend to use local teachers for that work now that we've had the chance to build this out a little bit further. So with our Spark piece, kind of hit some of this already, but the idea of personalized pace through both middle and high school requirements, as well as grading and feedback work with our local certified teachers who are available via email. One of the things you'll notice that's different is limited to no synchronous instruction in our secondary coursework, that we don't have a teacher meeting on a regular basis with a class to provide lectures and instruction. They do, however, answer email and questions, and our outreach coaches and tutors provide also an opportunity for students to get guidance and instruction that is more targeted to them. So that's kind of the model. And again, if you're interested, this goes for the same as the Iron K6 online, the same URL you'll see at the bottom. Please register at tinyurl.com/ICSD online reg. And that is a place for you to register and fill out that. So with just the basics about Spark, we'll turn some time over now to our counselor, Tim Marriott, who has been working closely with our Spark team this year. He'll describe some of the things that are unique about that and some of the requirements and how we meet those for high school graduation. So go ahead, Mr. Marriott.
Perfect. Thank you, Corey. So we're excited that this is an offering for our district students. We've had pretty good success with it this year, and we're excited for this to continue. Just a couple highlights of our Spark. Just so you know, Spark is the name of the curriculum, and it's kind of just taken on the name of our online program. So that's where that name comes from. But students who enroll in our Spark online program, they will enroll full-time at Southwest Education Academy. So that will be middle school through high school students will be enrolled with Southwest Education Academy. Students that are in this online program can take up to 2 classes at their boundary school. So what we've seen a lot of this year is students did a lot of the core online, but then they decided that they wanted to do band or choir or a foreign language at their boundary school. And it was kind of the best of both worlds. They didn't miss out on those great opportunities at the big schools. We've also had some students that didn't feel comfortable taking math online. You know, math can be a more difficult subject to learn online, and so we've had some that have elected to do some math in school in person. The other thing that should be noted is that students that are online and enrolled with Southwest Education Academy can continue to participate in extracurricular activities. So, you know, if they want to play sports, that is definitely an option they still have available to them. Obviously, the requirements as far as GPA and attendance all still come back into play, and we work closely with the boundary schools to make sure that students can participate in those activities. One thing that I do really like about Spark, this is a curriculum that has been created by another company, but this curriculum is created here in Utah, which means that the curriculum is guided off Utah's standards. Sometimes when different schools have gone with other outside providers, those are more national standards. And so I've appreciated that the curriculum that we're using matches the standards that our district uses as well. So let me get into a little bit about graduation requirements. Since we are not Cedar High School and Canyon View, our graduation requirements are a little bit different. And so if you'll go to that next slide, Corey, Southwest Education Academy requires 24 credits for graduation. Now here's kind of a map of how they all lay out. Now everything in the core is identical to Canyon View Cedar High School Parowan. Those core classes cannot change. We cannot modify those requirements in any way. So you still have your 4 years of language arts, math, science, all those stay the same. The only difference between us and the other schools is we require fewer electives. So we require 5.5, where the other schools may require 10, 11, 12 electives. So I was just looking online just to remind myself of the graduation requirements of the different schools. So Canyon View requires 32 credits to graduate. Cedar High School is 29. Parowan is kind of in a move right now. So they're 30 this year, 31 next year, 32 is where they'll end up. So again, all the requirements are the same, but when we get down to electives, those change and they require more. So the 24 credits goes off what the state requires. That cannot be changed, but a school can choose to bump up electives. And that's what our other district schools have chose to do. So there are some great benefits as far as, working towards a 24 credit diploma. If it's within your college and career readiness plan to, graduate early, or if you're taking more of a modified caseload each year where maybe you have, a job you're working on the side that you're really interested in, or you have other hobbies or other things that you're really interested that are very important to you. When you're working towards a 24 credit diploma, that just gives you more flexibility to do those other things that you may want to be involved in. Some people ask, well, what's the difference between a 24 credit diploma and a 32 credit diploma that a student might get at Canyon View? And the answer is there's nothing different. This is the same accredited diploma that you could get at any other high school in the state of Utah. We require them to go through the same steps and accreditation that any other high school does. So you should feel very confident in the education that you would receive in your online education if you choose to go this route. Corey hit on this next slide a little bit as far as supports. So this year has been a little bit different. As we've developed our online programs, we've used some outside supports out of our district. And this coming year, our district has provided the resources to make this more in-house, in fact, all in-house. And so the teachers that will be assigned to the courses will be our district teachers. We'll be hiring new outreach coaches to provide weekly support to our students. We're going to have tutors that students can meet with and provide that extra support on their online classes. We've already hired a technology support person to help. With technology comes different technology issues and Chromebooks and everything that comes along with that. So we're lucky to have someone that's dedicated to helping students and families with their technology support. I'm the counselor and will be the counselor for middle school, high school, and I'll be supporting the K-6 students as well. And so we want to make this and make sure you're receiving the same type of counseling support that you would receive in an in-person school. And that's going to mean college and career readiness, scholarships, mental health, social emotional, everything that you're provided in a school. We want to make sure those same services are still provided. Of Corey mentioned that we have a dedicated special education teacher to our Spark and K6 program. And then obviously we have some fantastic administrative support with Corey, and then we have a registrar and secretary. And so the district has really provided some amazing support for our online programs, and we're excited to really get these pieces into play. Corey, anything that I am missing on that you've thought of as I've hit on that?
No, nothing further really on that, Tim. Thank you very much for all the work you do. Tim is an extremely experienced and very helpful counselor and works closely with our outreach team as well as the rest of our team, of course, to make sure that students' needs are met. So we really appreciate Mr. Merritt. He'll talk to us a little bit more when we get to Snow Online. One other piece about the local support option is that next school year we'll be located in an office together where you can find us right next to the district office in a space shared with Launch High School and the technology department at the school district. So if you'll need anything, there would be somebody there at least until 5 o'clock at night to be able to meet your needs and to help give you what you need so that you can have access to what you need as an online student and family. So,
Corey,
yeah, go ahead.
interrupt just a second. We do have a question that's come in from Belen Sorensen. She says, Mr. Henwood, I am an outreach teacher for the Utah School for the Deaf. I have a student who lives in Washington County, but does school online through Iron County. Does Washington County not have an online program?
Yeah, Washington County does have an online program. However, we have different programs that are only offered through Iron County that serve students throughout southern Utah. And we're going to mention, I'm assuming, the program that this student is enrolled in is either MyTech High or Harmony Education. And we're going to talk about that program here in a little bit, which is another personalized offering that students we serve throughout southern Utah. So hopefully that addresses that question for you.
Can I make a comment real quick?
Yes.
So Michelle Lambert, our board president, has hopped on. So welcome, Michelle. And then also, I wanted to ask Tim, Jason mentioned his what he likes about online programs. Tim, as a counselor, what do you like about online programs?
Well, I am a little bit jealous of the activities that Jason's doing, and maybe we could implement some of those as far as the costume parade with our high school students. I think that would be a fun celebration. And I would look forward to Corey and Steve's choices and selections. I think the nice thing, and some of the feedback I've got from parents, is this online option has given students an opportunity to pursue other avenues that maybe they wouldn't be able to do in an in-school thing. We've had one of the students in particular is really big into rodeo, and that's been taking them different places. And because we have this new online option, that student has now been able to participate in different rodeo activities and make sure they're still working towards a high school diploma. So, you know, that those activities could be, they're all over the place, right? There's tons of different activities. So I love the flexibility that students are getting, and I love that they're getting a good, solid educational foundation with the courses that we're offering, with plenty of support, because online, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, but online can be challenging. And sometimes you feel like you're on your own little island at home. And we want to make sure we have plenty of wraparound support, not only for the student, but also for the parents, because they're in this as well.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Tim. We're certainly, the opportunities in online are very unique and provide a lot of options for parents, and we need to be to the task to support them, and we are valiantly trying to do so and always seeking to improve. So thank you for that. We'll talk next about Snow College Online, which is a program that I am extremely excited about. We've begun piloting this program here this past semester. This is for any student in high school, 9th through 12th grade. So students as early as 9th grade can earn college credit towards an associate's degree. Those credits also often map to the requirements for a high school diploma. So they are dual enrolled in both Snow Online, Snow College, as well as our high school here, SEA, and can receive credit in both places. So this is an exciting opportunity. There are some pieces that are unique about this opportunity. One is the curriculum was actually located on the Spark LMS. So if you've been using the Spark platform, it should be familiar to you. You can use the courses that are offered to meet either your requirements of your Gen Ed certificate or your associate's degree or both. And then ultimately, the grading and feedback on this is done by the Snow College team. It is not done here locally. And they're available to answer questions on that, as well as the mentoring is primarily done by the Snow College team, who helps students stay on track, meet a schedule that towards what they need to get done in order to be successful. It provides for a personalized pace through college curriculum, meaning that you can test in to some of the elements and even complete elements and earn credit as quickly as you're able. So they generally set you up with 2 classes at a time. And as soon as you're able to complete those classes, you earn credit and start your next set of classes. And you are able to do this until you've met all the requirements that you intend to meet for either your Gen Ed certificate or associate's degree. So it's a really unique opportunity to earn personalized credit in a college format in the #1 most transferable college in the nation. Snow College was recognized as the #1 most transferable college, which is an exciting thing. So we're happy to have partnered with them. Again, if you're interested in this program, you want to go to tinyurl.com/ICSD online reg. And that's the space where you can fill out the information that you'll need in this program. So now I'll probably hand it back to Mr. Merritt for a little bit to discuss some of the unique elements of this program and point you towards some other resources we have for you there.
Perfect. So we are super excited about this new program. Like Corey said, we've piloted this program with a handful of students, and we've received some good feedback from them, and they've enjoyed their experience so far in this program. So with Snow Online, what we've elected to do, our district, is the students will work towards an accelerated associate's degree of science, as well as earning their high school diploma as they work towards these college classes. This slide right here shows the classes that the students will do to work towards that associate's degree. So that first column are required classes that ultimately will give them their general ed certificate. So that's 35 credits that are required to do. This next set are the remaining credits needed. Now you'll pick about 8 to 9 classes of this second column to finish up your Associates of Science with a minimum of 60 credits. So you'll notice that a lot of these classes, like, you know, if you're wanting to get it done, most of your math for college, you can take your college algebra, that 1050 in that second half. And those other classes are just kind of geared more to your interest that you'd like to do. So a couple other things with Snow Online. Again, students that like to do this can also do classes at their boundary school, and they can also participate in extracurricular activities. Now, we also require that a student works towards a high school diploma, and for the most part, all of these classes will fulfill the graduation requirements. As we've worked with the state to identify you know, the crosswalk between the diploma and the associate's degree, the state has identified a few classes that are just not met within this associate's degree. And so, you know, if you started as a freshman in this program, there would be some high school classes that you would have to do. And just to name a few of them, well, there's not very many, but so the student would need to take geography, which is a semester class. They would need to take PE skills. They would need to take health, and they would need to take either an earth science or a physics class. When it comes to math and English, that's a discussion that I'll have individually with students and parents as far as prerequisites for that. depending on grade level and where a student's at with those different areas. I can guide them as far as, do they need to do some in-person instruction at their boundary school, some online instruction, or Snow Online also has some test-in curriculum and tests to help them prepare for that. So we want to make sure that students select to do this are prepared. And again, I'll meet with each student individually in person or on Zoom to make sure that this is a good fit for students. Now, if you go to that next slide, Corey, I believe this is, so back on March 23rd, we did a parent-student meeting with Snow Online. We did it with Roger Lamarca, who's kind of the coordinator for Snow Online. And we did about an hour webinar with him and went more into depth about Snow Online. And we talked about, how you can register for that. We also show you a snapshot of what the classes look like. In fact, we give you a login to get into Snow Online, and you can go in and look at every single class that you would need for associate's degree right now. You can go there and play around and do whatever you want. They're just kind of like a sandbox area where you can go in there and look at all the classes, so you can really have a good idea what it's going to look like, what the assignments, what the reading, what the writing looks like before you even make a decision if you want to complete this program. We go into more in depth about the English and math requirements, and then we go into more depth about the crosswalk between earning an associate's degree and a high school diploma. So if you would like to view that, that can be found at that link. Corey does a lot better job with creating those tiny URLs. I just plugged in my thing and it gives me this random. So it's not the easiest thing to remember, but that link right there will allow you to view that parent meeting we had with Snow Online, which is quite informative, and we answered a lot of the questions that parents had prior to enrolling. So again, if you're interested in Snow Online, that earlier link that I'm sure we'll show again, that shows that you're interested, and then I will contact you and set up an appointment to go over transcripts and any questions that you may have prior to pulling the trigger and saying that you're ready for this accelerated associate's degree. So amazing opportunity to leave high school with their diploma and an associate's degree. Like Corey said, Snow College does a great job at transferring credits to whatever university you would like to go to. So if you plan on going to SUU, that's an easy transfer after you earn that credit. One last thing, let me just add on that a lot of parents have. I've had several parents reach out to me as, hey, my student's going to be a junior next year. Can they earn their associate's degree? And again, we're new into this program. We have a few students that are working towards that. But the feedback that we've received from Snow Online is if a junior is starting this program, they still can earn their associate's degree by the end of their senior year. Again, that's probably going to be a pretty rigorous schedule, but it's still doable for a junior to do it in 2 years. So again, this is conversations we can have in person or online if you want to learn more about this.
Well, thanks, Mr. Marriott. Appreciate it. A couple things to reiterate on this. One is, if it wasn't mentioned already, that these options, all of these options, including our Snow Online program, are offered at no cost to parents or their students. All that is required for access to this online curriculum is paid for by the district as part of your enrollment with online programs. So that is an exciting opportunity, as well as Mr. Marriott mentioned, opportunities to connect with classes up to 2 in your in-person school, extracurricular activities and the like. So thank you for that. An excellent opportunity. Students can literally, in this program, go through and complete 20 credits, the equivalent of 60 credit hours, and an additional 4 or 5 other credits, and walk out of there with both their high school diploma and their associate's degree. A great opportunity for students. So take a look at that and let us know if you're interested, again, with that tiny URL that we will share here again once more. So a couple other items to offer. MyTech High, as I referenced earlier, is a K-12 curriculum platform for students to connect with They have a few, but not all of their options are accredited, and they offer a lot of choice to parents and students about curriculum. However, there are few to no interactions from any local teachers or mentors, unless they're receiving special ed services or other. They are largely left to work at home with their parents. Is broadly seen as homeschool curriculum that is working alongside the school district. And so that's the MyTech High program. Again, reiterate some of these pieces that they don't necessarily all transfer to credit for a high school diploma in particular, the rare interactions with our outreach team, and little to no interaction outside of special services. So if you're interested in that, MyTech High, you can go to their website, mytechhigh.com/apply. So before we get to our last kind of slides, which will talk about some of our registration links, those will come up again. I just wanted to show you that before anyone is worried about that. Those will come up again here at the end of our time. So last couple of items, we wanted to talk a little bit, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Merritt again to talk a little bit more about how do you know that your student will be successful in online learning? What are the things they need to look at? And maybe you can evaluate before enrolling and registering online. Go ahead, Mr. Merritt.
Yeah, so, and this may differ a little bit from K-6, and you may want to jump in a little bit and talk about specific to K-6, but what we've noticed with secondary is, online programs isn't for everybody. And so what we've tried to do is kind of give you a rubric of some areas that are quite important to be a successful online learner. Now, if you're not sitting at 3 and 4 stars in all of these different categories, that's okay. And that's why we have our outreach team to help support you. But this can at least kind of get the discussion started with your son or daughter and help maybe drive some questions that you have for us when we meet about the programs that you're interested in. So this is just a few areas. Let me just highlight a few of them that stand out to me as we've been in this process. So good time management is really important, and making sure that students have a schedule. So online, from what we've experienced, students that just wake up whenever they want, jump on the computer whenever they want, that hasn't been the best working environment. So what we encourage them to do is really build a similar schedule to what they would have in a school setting. So, this is the time that I'm going to wake up. This time works for me and the other things that I'm doing. And this is how I'm going to break up my classes, right? So I'm going to have 6 or 7 classes online, and these are how I'm going to break up the time for each of these classes. So having a routine and a schedule is pretty important to stay on pace for the different online classes that you have. The other thing that's extremely important is just making sure that you're able to communicate with your mentor and your teachers, right? And a lot of that communication is going to be, over the phone, through email, through text, and just making sure that, if you need help, that you know how to reach out and that you can use those different avenues to reach out. And again, this will be a lot of coaching with our outreach. We'll help you with that, but just effective communication is extremely important, and making sure you're receiving the help that you need in your different classes. Academic readiness is important, right? So with online classes and it not being a live instruction, there's a lot of reading and there's writing that happens in these courses. And so that's an area of interest, right? So if those are difficult areas, again, I'm not saying that online won't work for you, but if you're someone that really struggles with reading, this would be a difficult thing because there is pretty reading intensive. And so again, I don't try and discourage anyone, and these are conversations that I'd like to have with you and your student, but just things to think about. And then just making sure that you have those technology skills, right? Everything is going to be on the Chromebook, and to be able to access and use, Google Docs or Word, and, you're submitting assignments. A lot of things that we can help coach you with. With our Spark students, we'll provide Chromebooks. There's ways that we can help you with internet access as well. And so just some areas that we've seen stand out as students have struggled in online learning. These are kind of the glaring issues that we want to work through. Before you jump in, you're like, oh, this isn't working. We want to make sure we troubleshoot any barriers before you start, and make sure that this is a good experience for not only the student, but for the family, right? If the student's not being successful and having a good experience, that affects the family. Let me just make a couple notes about parents. We get some parents that say, how can I better support my student in an online environment? And some of the areas that we've noticed is that a parent can be supportive is, again, helping that student with that routine. So, when we meet with students, we provide them kind of a layout of a schedule, and we help them build that schedule. It's important that students have a space to work on their online work, right? So if sometimes that's not feasible in everyone's home, but if there's a space that you can kind of dedicate towards working online, that's always helpful, rather than laying in bed with your Chromebook. That sometimes can be distracting, especially if you're reading in bed. That you can get some sleepy eyes. It's important that parents are reviewing expectations regularly with their students, and we want to make sure we're having lots of communication with parents and making sure they understand the platforms that we're using, how to track their students, and that they understand the expectations that we have for pace and progress and attendance, and that the parents are in the know and don't feel like they're in the dark as far as what a student should be doing. So we want to make sure that the parents not only understand the expectations, but also are reviewing that on a regular basis with their student. The other thing that stood out to me as we've done this is sometimes in online learning, online students don't receive the praise that they might receive on a regular basis in an in-person environment, right? So, they're not getting a lot of interaction with the teacher. It's more, independent study. And so I know as support individuals, we want to do a better job at praising students and congratulating them and providing good feedback on their work. But how important that is from a parent standpoint is praising them, and in an elementary setting, even displaying their work like you would in an in-person environment, right? So they're still doing a lot of those activities, and we want to make sure that students are being complimented and praised for the good work that they're doing, even in an online environment where maybe they're not having that regular communication with the teacher. And again, just taking advantage of the resources that we'll provide. So we're going to have tutors that will be available, and we'll provide a good wraparound services for these students. And so we'd encourage you to take advantage of those services and put them to good use. Our outreach want to stay busy. Our tutors want to stay busy. So we hope that you would take advantage of these great resources.
Hey, thanks, Mr. Marriott. I'll just also tie into his question about how does this readiness rubric apply to younger students, as it's primarily targeted at older students. Many of these elements, we do not expect a younger student in particular to be at the level of 4. In fact, that would be quite abnormal. Some of the notable, exceptions for younger students, technology skills do not need to be at a high level. Student may have limited experience using a computer, but express interest in developing that skill. That would be normal for a kindergartner, first grader, right? We're not talking about them coming in with a lot of the skill set. In fact, most of these elements, the 2-star level is probably adequate for many of the K-6 elements, with the exception of technology and connectivity, which we provide. So if your student does not have access to a working computer, we provide that. Also, we provide access to high-speed internet if that's not available for you. So those are things that we can provide. Likewise, student support needs to be pretty high. And so that last column there that indicates student support, they should have access to regular mentoring, counseling, even probably more so than older students. And they receive that systematically through our program, as well as we generally require even more parent support at the younger grade level. So those are some of the things that are a little bit different here that I wanted to point out to you. Don't be discouraged if you're thinking, oh man, does my kindergartner need to be a computer whiz before joining online programs, right? So just as we close out here, a couple of items. Our process, we need you to consider registering right now. As
Corey,
things get chaotic. Go ahead. Jason?
Corey, could I make a quick comment about what you just talked about with the elementary
Yes, go ahead.
K6? So looking at that rubric, right, I agree with what Corey just said, definitely. Although you would be impressed, some of my first and second graders are actually getting quite adept when we do our class virtual meetings every week, our Zoom meetings. I have confidence now that I've allowed even them to share their screen and show some of their work, and they've been able to do it. So yeah, it's pretty cool to see, because the kids, living in the 21st century, those are skills that they're developing, which most kids at school don't until they're like in 3rd or 4th grade. So that's neat to see. The other thing I would say is probably the biggest component that we are seeing with our Iron K6 students that is going to set a student up for success, and I think this applies to the 7th to 12th grade as well, is communication. Clear communication. We work very hard in Iron K6 to have clear expectations communicated with individual students and their parents. And our students that are thriving and doing well is because that communication's there. When we reach out to the parents or the students, they respond immediately. And then the parents reach out to me, I always respond to them within 24 hours. And I'm able to give them a lot of valuable resources, other things they can work on with their kids. So the students that aren't successful is when there's a breakdown of communication on one way or the other, where we're reaching out to the student or the parent and we're not hearing anything back for 2 to 3 days. So I think that clear communication and the buy-in is, I've told many parents, I've said, thank you so much. You truly are a partner in education. They're like my right hand TA with their own child, giving that added support. So that's the main thing I would see for the success of students, or with those that struggle, is that that communication's not there and not clear.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that insight. Parents are partners in, of course, all of our education programs, but nowhere is that more clear than with online programs. And so we appreciate you parents as serving as partners in your students' education. So this is kind of the process we're laying out. We need you to consider registering right away with the URLs that we'll share here again at the end. For our secondary students in particular, you'll have an opportunity to meet with our team, our counselor, and our outreach team to connect and set up your schedule. And then we'll have some orientation nights and other things as we get the school year started in August. And so that's kind of the process moving forward. We're open to taking any questions right now as we leave some of our URLs up there for you to take down as we close out today. Thank you so much for joining us. And yeah, I'll leave it open for any questions from Karen in the Q&A.
I don't see any other questions, Corey, but maybe Michelle, would you like to? Do you have anything to say from the board that you'd like to add?
First, I'll apologize for being late. We had a great listening tour at East Elementary, and it went right up till 4 or just about. So anyway, my apologies for joining a little late. I missed the beginning, but I just wanted to say thank you, especially to the team here, Mr. Schofield, Mr. Henwood, and Mr. Marriott, Mr. Niles, all of those that many of these things were new this year, and COVID really accelerated, I think, the pace of some of these things. And I have really appreciated the flexibility and the options that this has given to families. And I'm thrilled that we're going to be able to continue to carry some of these programs forward and to continue to give options to families to be able to meet the needs of their individual children. So thanks and congrats to everyone who's worked so hard this year.
Thank you, President Lambert, and to the board for their support of personalized learning and supports for our students and to meet the needs of all students. We really appreciate our board support on that. Well, Karen, if there's nothing further, we'll probably close out. And so we appreciate, I know, all of those who have spent time building online programs this year, many of whom are not represented today. We've got a fairly large team, and so we appreciate our team, and that includes, of course, our parents who have worked with us this year, as well as our students to help make this a success this year. And we look forward to seeing many of you joining us this coming year, and hope that you can reach out and register primarily through that tiny URL that you see there, tinyurl.com/ICSD online reg, where you can register for next school year. So thank you so much. If there's no further questions, we'll probably close the meeting at this point. Thank you.
Corey, there is one question about science that somebody just put in. They said, what science classes do you offer for third year science? I don't know if that means third grade. I'm trying to respond to it. Third grade or third year science in high school? I do know we do use Mystery Science. That's been a great resource for our online Iron K6. And next year hopefully we're going to be also using Generation Genius, which also has amazing videos and lessons that we can use for our main instruction in science. Oh, so it's high school. But anyways, now you know Mystery Science and Generation Genius.
Well, sound like great options. So with high school, so we will offer more the kind of the popular classes that you'll see in the high school. So let me just give you a quick rundown of what those classes are. So we'll offer Earth Systems, we'll offer biology, we'll offer chemistry, we'll also offer physics, and we'll offer environmental science. So those classes will fulfill the graduation requirements for science. That's more than what you need, but those are the classes that we'd offer online. If you choose to go the Snow Online route, they have some pretty good science classes too. They have biology 1010, they've got chemistry 1010, and again, those will meet that third year science as well. So a lot of great options depending on the program you choose.
Well, thank you.